5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye. Hello again. For those of you that are old enough, my nickname is Midland Red because you wait for ages for me and you get two of me in a one night. Not only that, we're gonna have sloppy seconds with Brad in a minute. A couple of things I just want to sort of run through. This is a new show. Do let us know in the comments below whether you are watching on catch up or in the chat what you think of this new format. We do the review show, and this is the way we're looking at doing it moving forward. The review show, and then either later on the Monday or maybe during the day on the Tuesday, do a separate player rating show that it doesn't make. If you want to watch it on catch up, you're not having to sit through a sort of 2.5, 3 hour show. Got to say, first of all, congratulations to Burnley. Kind of my second team. I lived there for 20 odd years. And through gritted teeth, congratulations to Leeds. Both of them have been confirmed today as being promoted. Don't know who's going to be champions yet. And that was because Burnley beat Sheffield United 2-1, I believe it was. So well done to those two. I mean, the good news is that you're coming up into a Premier League that is probably stronger than it's ever been. And you've got two managers who are excellent at keeping teams up in the Premier League. Oh, forget that. Forget I said that. No. Scott Parker and, of course, Daniel Farke. Great managers there, guys. In fairness, look, we can't say about managers with our choices this season. And Scott Parker, he lost something like 4 games all season. It's a joke. Well done to both those teams and their fans. Enjoy the ride when you come up. Interestingly, I was just going down one of my many YouTube rabbit holes, and TalkSport have put one out today. And it goes, Not That Man, it is titled. West Ham fan claims Graham Potter is a myth and not a decent manager. Interesting. They were better under Floppy Loppy than they are under a Potter. And I don't just mean like us and Rude, a few points different here or there. Huge gap. They were up to sort of mid-table at one point under Floppy Loppy. Be careful what you wish for. Maybe we should be as well. This is the playing rating video. It's going to be a 3-way fight. Jordan versus Brad versus me. It's tag really. It's Jordan versus Brad and me, if truth be known. But do join in. If you do put down a rating, please make a note what player it is for. Because if I miss and go back, you could be talking about anybody. So please put, like I say, Vardy, blah, blah, blah. And try and keep up with the player that we're talking about. Because if you're way ahead and say something about Vardy when we're starting to talk about the defence, it will get ignored. If you're listening, by the way, via your favourite podcast platform of choice, thank you for lending us your ears. Let's get on with it. Ding ding, round one, and in the red corner. Hello, Brad.
Hello, long time no see, Chris. It's been a while.
It is. I was missing you, mate. I was missing you.
I know.
Got to say, big thank you to Matthew. Liverpool fan said yesterday, but I feel bad for you lot. Sorry, we was the ones who put you down. Hope you come back up and have a good season. Look, just go on and smash the league, mate. You deserve it. You're the better team. It's funny that in this one season that Manchester City aren't winning it, Arsenal can't. And I've nothing against Liverpool. And mate, look, you didn't put us down. Every single bloody team, barring Tottenham and Brighton, who couldn't get a win over us, has put us down this season. So
No, don't leave Bournemouth out of the hat. We could still go undefeated against them.
I was referring to teams we had played twice. But you, being the pedantic bloody person you are...
Yeah, I have to point that out.
Right, Leicester versus Liverpool. Look, we all had an... Excuse me, look at this. Bloody, I'm on lemon sip here. Oh my God. This is why I didn't go to see my granddaughter today. Man of the matches, player ratings, well, not player ratings, but player performances as a team, donkeys. We all chose our own on the post-match. So let's get into this. So I'm going to sneeze again.
Sneeze again.
God almighty. Right, here we go. Leicester 0, Liverpool 1. Let's have a look at it. Now, the team performance, of course, for the team and man of the match, the official LTID TV one, like I say, we have Alan Bennett, a lovely, lovely man. He's been going to the games longer than I can remember, probably longer than he wants to remember. And he's had a good long life, which I'm surprised following Leicester, that he hasn't dropped off somewhere. But Alan is at the match. And so sees a lot more than we do when we're watching it for the watch along and what have you. So he does the official man of the match and team performance. Now, you actually did agree with him, Brad, because he went 7 for the team. And you went, I believe, 7 for the team. I went 5.
Yeah.
But we both understood the other one's thinking of. But I just think the whole team's got to perform well to get a good score. Man of the match, look, none of us went for the one that Alan did, but there was between 6 of us, we got 3 different players of the match. And the one that won it for Alan was Steffi Mavididi. And again, I think, you know, he played as well as anybody else did. I can see why he went for Steffi Mavididi. Now, Match Donkey. This is the one time, and I nearly had to go and clip it because, sorry, Ant is in. Hi, Ant, how you doing? I would give 6 for the team and Steffi Mavididi as the man of the match. And Blue Fox has gone 7 for the team rating and Thomas man of the match. Match Donkey. It's one of those things where we actually all agreed, didn't we, Brad?
Yeah, it was your favourite love child.
Yes. I didn't go for somebody who didn't actually get on the pitch this time, which I've done before, and that was my man of the match. Yeah, but this gentleman who we dropped, who did we drop him for him?
He came on McAteer, who got a tight calf.
Yes, I still don't know how we have more injuries for off-field things than on-field things. But when you got Buenete available and you bring on this donkey, and what I mentioned him about 3 times, which was more than I mentioned Vardy in the last match, first half. But did he actually? One time I actually saw him do something decent down the right wing in the first half. He literally went forward and left the ball behind him.
Yeah. There was probably 3 times I heard his name mentioned, and that's when the team news was read out. His name got read out by an announcer to come off, and that moment in question. So, yeah, I think we have the same 3 unremarkably bad memory of D could overread. Ironically, Chris, it's also D could overread was the man you gave man of the match to for not getting on the pitch and staying alone. So
Yeah.
He's bagging man of the matches for you, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, just a little bit. Vardy, he was awful, absolutely terrible. One thing I'll say for him, he worked very hard defensively, but as a winger needs something going forward. I don't really think he's I don't know what he is, to be honest with you. A waste of space. Right.
No AP on roller skates.
Well, that's most of our team, isn't it? Shall we get into the ratings then?
We shall indeed.
So it's team ratings, and we're going to go with the starting 11 first of all, for obvious reasons. And we're going to start with this gentleman, Mads Hermansen. Now, here we go. This is where it gets interesting, folks. Don't forget, if you are saying giving a rating, you must write the player down so we know who you're talking about. Mads Hermansen, says Jordan, made an excellent save to deny Salah early on, and his positioning helped him keep out several more Liverpool efforts. The Dane quick off his line to keep out Tomiskas too, but he missed a few crosses to leave his goal gaping and didn't set himself well to keep out Alexander-Arnold's goal. 7.
Very critical of him. But yeah, I said after the Everton game, Chris, you know when we did that thing called Won a Game of Football? Playing attacking football against Spurs, and we was all dead excited because we thought that was going to continue, and the first thing we did was concede in about 14 seconds.
Yes.
I said on that game that Madsen shouldn't have been playing that game because I felt like Stolarczyk would have had the reactions with his fitness and game time to have done it. This was the first game in a while since his return to the starting 11 that I felt that Madsen was back at his best for Leicester, making some vital stops, was quite good at commanding his box. Still had Kasper Schmeichel syndrome with his kicking at times. A few went out pointlessly for a throw-in.
Yeah.
But on the basis of it, he didn't have a bad game. And actually, to be fair, yes, he went a bit too far over on the right for the goal, but he got a little bit of extra flab on his arm. He would have got enough on it for it to have bounced down and kept out the net. It hit the bottom of his arm and went underneath him. He was actually quite unlucky that that's the goal he conceded, considering the ones he stepped out.
Yeah.
And Madsen's really this season has reminded me more of David De Gea, but in the last year or so of his time at Man U. You know, you'd consider him being your man of the match when they lose 3-0 because he made 20 saves doing it. And that's how I feel like Mads has been at times this season. I'd give him a 7.5 because he was, A, you allow me to do halves and no take-backs, and B, he was in my contention for overall man of the match.
Yes. He was. I mean, the thing with the goal was, I think he was unlucky because there was that much going on at that particular time. There was about 4 attempts by Liverpool before that one went in. And if that big, huge fart in front of him, Faze, hadn't turned his side onto the ball, he may have actually got in the way. He might have given a penalty away like Cody did, but at least then you got a chance to save the penalty. But, you know, don't start me started on Faze before we get to him. This is going to be quite an unbelievable start here because remember in the post-match reaction we did a deserves a mention slot, which was like second to the man of the match, and my deserves a mention was actually Mads Hermansen.
It was.
So I can't quite give him the top mark, and that will be coming soon. But I'm going to totally agree with you and give him 7.5.
Bloody hell, we're off to flyer.
1 7, 2 7.5. Ricardo Pereira. This is Jordan. He was alert to clear in front of McAllister and blocked really well to deny Gakpo in the second period. He looked strong, but while he provided some slick passes in the first half, he gave the ball away a couple of times in the second period, and he gets a 7.
At least he saved it at the end there, because I thought it was going to go on a little bit of a row as to like Ricky being this, Ricky being that. God, if you thought we missed not having Fatwa as a winger on the right, howdy have we missed Ricardo not being fit for most of this season to play right back? Because
What's that, Justin?
oh, you mean that left back? Yeah, funny enough, he's not as good. Funny enough, the left back can't play on the right. I mean, if only, Chris, if only in January we would have been able to have spent even £3 million, Chris, if we'd have just been able to have brought a right back in that the manager wanted to bring in to have filled the gap while Ricardo was out. Oh, well, what are you going to do? It's not like that happened, is it, Chris?
No. You don't be silly. We wouldn't buy somebody for a position that we didn't really have anybody and then not play him. How can you be so stupid?
I know, I'm on a thick moment. Sorry, Koulibaly. I mean, sorry, Rude. Honestly, difference maker. And he's one of them that, for me, Chris, I'm kind of torn between the idea now, because had we somehow stayed up, I'd have gone, get rid of him for his injuries, replace him with a similar quality or style of player. But now we're back in the Championship. If he's willing to do it again, I'd keep him around. I'm not going to give him a 7.5 because you'll understand why when we get further down the pitch. I'm going to give him a 7 because I think he was very good, very reliable, and proved what we've been missing for the majority of this season on that side of the pitch.
Now, Ricky, I think we've got another year of Ricky P. I think he could be really, really good in the Championship, but I do worry about how good he would be should we come back up. So I think
he needs one of these, Chris. If he's only got a year left, we need to get him to do that first, I reckon.
Would you extend him?
I would, just so he can't do a Yuri honours and go on a free, because the last thing this club needs is, yes, some people please go for free leave right now, but if we kind of have Ricky, keep him up, he signs a 2-year contract, so we get 2 years out of him. We go up, he has an injury-free season, and someone sniffs around him for, say, 8 million, 10 million because of his age, whatever. You snap their hand off and take it. You got to get money into the club. Let them go for free. He's going to do nothing when he's actually got some value.
All right, let me ask you this then. If he wasn't our player, and with his career that he'd had, let's say that career had been at Aston Villa, and he became available, would you buy him now?
I'd set the hand off for him.
Honestly,
if he played the way he's played for another club, and Villa said, we're going to do a Mark Albrighton on you, we're not going to give you a contract, we'll let you go, please, thank you.
No, we're not talking free, I'm saying, would you buy him?
Yeah, because I reckon he'd cost you 8 million, 8 to 15 million, probably 8, and you negotiate add-ons. I reckon you could get him up there.
Let's be honest with you, and I'm not saying you'll see my score in a minute. I'm not saying that he had a bad game or he's not. He doesn't make a difference to the team when he's actually on the pitch. We know he does, but how long are we going to have him on the pitch? He could play against Wolves next week and get injured after 20 minutes. He is into that Wes Morgan sort of,
Yeah, worth the risk, mate. Worth the risk because he has an abundance of experience to offer you. I would say that if he says to Leicester, look, I'm not doing this again. If I've got 1-2 good years left in me, I want it to be in the Premier League, and I'm Burnley, I'm offering Leicester 8 million to take him off us right now.
Okay.
Maybe that's where you project where he could end up being at, but I think he would.
Yeah, I don't think one of the big boys would go for him, now. But like with a lot of our players that were up here, 3 or 4 seasons ago, that they have dropped. But I'm actually going to complete the set, and I'm going to go 7 as well, and that's going to be 3 7s for him. Ant says, how sexy is it to have Ricky P back? You're too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts. I'm bold. Look, I could get into the band. Okay, moving on. Blue Fox says Ricky. Oh, he's coming out with the halves. Blue Fox 7.5. He's given him. He's gone top there. Right, let's move on to. Oh my God, Wout Faes. A mistake-free outing from the Belgian on his return to the side. There weren't many moments of excellent defending, but he was solid enough and stayed alert to help with the rearguard action. And he got a 6 from Jordan.
Chris, I'm just going to say this now before you shout at me. I usually grade my centre-backs the same. Okay? I usually go, if one's bad, that means the other one was bad, blah, blah, blah. I mean, Ant's given a personal rating there. That's not on a performance. That's just personal. I've just seen that pop up. Personally, don't think he should have been playing the game. He shouldn't have been playing the game because...
Ecole?
Yeah, I think Ecole should have been playing 1 minute, mate.
Well, Brad's had to go for some reason, and I'm sure it's a valid reason. I'll give my rating because I agree with you, Brad. He is still a twat. He's a big, huge twat. He's a twat. I mean, we can't gift wrap it. It was, however, one of his better games. Now, I can't give him a decent score because one of his better games, by his standard, doesn't really say much, to be honest with you. So I am going to give him 5.5 because, and that, oh, Brad's back. That from me, Brad, 5.5 of Wout Faes is almost like an 8 or a 9 for anybody else. But he did turn his side onto the goal, and I can't forgive that from a defender.
No, I get that, and I understand that that's not a viable reason for for forgiving that, because that's something he's just done throughout his career at Leicester, the side turner. Yeah. However, we've given him 3s and 4s for half a performance of what he put in, yesterday. And granted, if you're saying players that are going to go next season, we're not going to fetch a penny for him, let alone a pound. And we'll all be probably thankful when he goes. Well, most of you will. I still love his hair and think he might be a twat, but there's something about him that just...
It's because he's worth it.
Well, yeah, he does have the advertisements. Maybe he should give that to the club on his way out. I don't know. But remember what I said, Chris. I give the same rating to my centre-backs 9 times out of 10. So I'm going to become the Jordan Blackwell here when you start on what I said here. I'm giving Wout Faes a 10. No, I'm not really. Fooled you. I fooled you. I know you're ill. I shouldn't have done that to you. But I am giving him a 7. I've broken Chris, ladies and gentlemen. It was only a joke.
You have broken me. You are giving Wout Faes a 7.
I am, Chris, conceding only 1 against the champions. He gets 7.
I know you're sat in the dark there, but can you see any bright lights at all? Are you not Brad? Have you been taken over? Are you a hand puppet that somebody's got their hand up your arse and they're working you?
Yeah, Rudkin pop round.
Excuse me. All right, you're giving him a 7. Oh, I disagree with you. I'm gonna have to play this for you, mate. I'm sorry, and you do deserve this. I don't know which one to play. We'll go with this one.
Your opinion is wrong.
Although I could have played this one.
Well, I don't believe it.
No, there we go. I think Brad's gone again, and maybe to put a light on. Cody will go to next. He made a mistake.
I am still here, sorry.
Oh, you are still there, right. So Connor Cody, he made a mistake to let one long ball over his head and a few of his more audacious passes didn't come off. But he made some decent clearances and blocks in the second half, and he got a 6 off Jordan.
Right, so... Yeah, see, I have a problem with that, Chris, because whilst I agreed that he did let one drop over his head, and I thought, here we go, another kind of Cody error is going to lead to a goal. Not a penalty like it did against Palace and against Brighton, but it's going to lead to a goal, and he got bailed out by somebody who would come to next, bailed him out and saved it. But I really think he had a more reliable game. He was confused and playing for Liverpool at times. Well, considering he's never, is he? I thought he was never taken. Not a scout. I don't know. I don't know these days. I failed geography. I shouldn't be questioning geography there, really, should I? He's a teacher and all.
No.
I actually think he played well. I think he actually showed some command. I felt like the players were actually listening to him. And again, it was a game for me where it felt like it was very desperate back to the wall, but our defensive, ability in that game, Chris, actually reminded me of that West Brom game last season, Chris, where we threw our bodies in the way and Hamza made that triple block on the line. They were really playing, unlike the last 18 games of this season where they've just been like, oh, I'll have a shot then, mate. Go on, I'm not going to throw my body in front of it. And I've gone like for like. You haven't changed the picture over. But I have gone like for like. I give Wout Face a 7, so I think it's okay if I give Cody a 7.
I was just testing you.
Yeah, see, I passed.
Well, all of them have been a bit late in me switch over. I've got to be honest with you.
It's been as slow as Leicester on the pitch, so it's all right, mate.
No, that's true. That's true. Cody 4, it felt like he was confused and playing for Liverpool at times. Andy just irritates me. And he's going definitely for the personal vote this time, isn't he?
Although to be fair, minus this performance, I've very much been going back to talk shit radio through Connor Cody. I'm with you, Anne. We agree on that one. It's scary.
Your two highest scores to FaZe and Cody ever all season. I'm going to agree with Blue Fox. Blue Fox has given him a 6, so I'm going to give him a 6. I think you've been a little bit unfair there, Ant, with the 4, to be honest with you.
Personal vendetta.
No. Right, remembering to change it over, Luke Tomas. He lost Salah a few times early on. For fuck's sake, Jordan, who hasn't? But improved quickly and then shut him down well, tracking diligently to cut out crosses into him. When he had support, his passing was good too. And he gets another 6.
Right, so praises Cody, praises FaZe, praises Ricardo, goes 7. Praises Thomas about putting one of will definitely be a Premier League legend, but definitely one of the best wingers this division has ever seen, and then rates him less. If people have wondered why I want to punch Jordan Blackwell in the face, it's definitely because I think he gets halfway through typing and then downs a bottle of whiskey and puts his rating sometimes. Because he was my man of the match, Chris. So you won't hear any higher than this because no one's getting the 10. That's for damn sure. But Luke Thomas has just, breaking news, Chris. Luke Thomas has been taken in by police, but he's been released on no charges. He was arrested for kidnapping, but apparently he just forgot he had Sarah in his back pocket after the match.
Hey, bum.
I give him a 9, mate.
Oh, a 9?
Yeah.
Right, well, he was your man of the match. He was Kate's man of the match, copying each other's homework. He was also Wayne's man of the match. But most importantly, he was my man of the match.
Yes.
Look, there's going to be better defenders than Luke Thomas out there that loses Salah a few times.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do forgive me, the Liverpool fan that was in, I don't know if he's still in, but he mentioned earlier, also I think he was in on the post-match, or there was a Liverpool fan in on the post-match that said, he did well. He did have him and Bradley, was it? Both of them basically, didn't get much against Luke Thomas. But they did keep going down, they didn't that sort of side. Look, this guy to me, you call this Redemption City.
Yeah.
And we've got a player here that everybody wanted out of the club.
Yeah.
Everybody said he was shit. Forget the fact that we would have been in the shit without him that COVID season. I know you can't sort of define a career with one goal. Maybe you can. I don't think you can. But, that shout out to Vardy to leave it so he could score against Man United will always be remembered by me. And whatever we say about Rude, one of the few things that I actually agree with him is that we could build our defence around this guy. You could argue that he's probably maybe better as the left of the three centre-backs if we go for 5. But he did all right as a winger. Look, if you can keep Bradley and, the golden boot winner, but it's going to be looking like this season, quiet, I can't quite go to a 9, but as my man of the match, he gets 8.5.
No, that's fair, mate. And I'll take your point on board about building next season, the project rebuild, if you will, next season, because Ben Nelson, Akoli at the back, Koulibaly on the right. It could be a back line for the future, 4 or 5 years going forward.
Yes. Oh, let's not forget, and I think this guy, I just don't know what he's done, but Harry Suter.
Yeah, I think he's someone we try and take a loss on, I'm afraid.
Again, though, I've got to say, just to sidetrack for a minute, I do feel that with Harry Suter, it's a bit like Skip. We haven't seen enough of him to perform a proper, or get a proper understanding of how good he is, because we haven't really seen enough of him. But look, that's for another show for another time.
The problem is if you include the fact that technically on paper Ruud van Nistelrooy was a manager, 4 managers have looked at him and 4 managers have gone no. So it is that. But go on.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, we're at the end of the season, talking about shows coming up at the end of the season, folks. When Cooper left, do you remember we did a show where we rated all our players?
Oh, I think someone going to lose a grade or 2, yeah.
Dakova Reed could jump way up.
Yeah, he'll be in it. We'll have to do it, Chris. Title it. What 2?
Yeah. Well, this is it. We did say we were going to review it at the end and see if any of them were better under Ruud. Yeah, I don't think they both maybe meant that many. Ant gave him 7.5. Jordan with the personal attack on Thomas. That could never be me. Of course it couldn't, Ant. Who would even consider that? Thomas, 8.5 for Blue Fox. Ant says, I think we're closer to something else, beginning with an R City. And Thomas Nelson Ricardo is 3 out of the back 4 for next season. James, possibly? James Justin?
No.
Okay. Even at left back?
No.
All right, move on. Then we're on to Wilfred Ndidi. He played Salah onside for one early chance, but that was his only mishap. Well, you're making a point of it, aren't you, Jordan? He put in several strong, well-timed tackles and was unfairly punished for some, while he went close with his crisp strike against the post, and also made a good clearance near his own line. Got a 7 from Jordan.
Yeah, again, look, I think we fully accepted that Wilfred Ndidi is not the Wilfred Ndidi of 2019-20. He's past that now. Them injuries did him, and he hasn't fully been able to find it back again. Again, proving why he's a CDM. Ant's just said it right there. On the ball, sometimes he was awful. Sometimes I agree with Jordan. He was missed character justice. He should have got a free kick, but he was wearing the wrong kit. But defensively, I think he was brilliant. One of his more energetic games, and because he hit the post, Chris, right? And because this will make you chuckle when it comes to his defensive midfield partner. Because he hit the post and had our only half decent chance that was registered and counted on target. Well, it wasn't on target. You shoot the frame, it's not. I gave him a 6.5.
So 7 down to a 6.5. Look, I like Ndidi, and I think he's still this. I think there's still a half decent player in there. I also like Samari, but I just don't think they play well together. I think against Brighton, when Skip came on, he gave that freedom to Samari that indeed he doesn't. I do think it's a Lampard-Gerrard sort of situation with those two.
Maybe our next manager can unlock how to get them both on the pitch and get the best out of them.
Or maybe just alternate. Sorry.
Or cash in on one. One's younger than the other, but if it's money over that, I'm saying.
That's going to be a good question, because do you cash in on Ndidi, who's probably worth more, but is a bit older, who's Samari, who is younger and will get more out of, but probably isn't quite as good?
Yeah, that'd be a conundrum, won't it?
Yes, it would. I don't think Ndidi had that bad a game, to be honest with you. I'm going to go for 6.5 as well. So Ant has gone at 6.5. On ball awful, but defensively very decent. It does remind me, I think you said this as well, Brad. He's very much like a Robbie Savage. You get the ball and then just give it to somebody else. And I think in a way, although Enzo did get something else out of him, I think that is Wolf's strength, is stopping the attack and then just passing it out to somebody else.
Yeah, I think he could play that. He could play that holding midfield role well, couldn't he? Where you can say to him, chance your arm a little bit. Don't go dancing off as a number 8 or a number 10, but you can be there to kind of give us a shorter recycle ball instead of going all the way back to inside our own half with him. Yes,
yeah, indeed. Ant says Samari is better than Ndidi now, in my opinion.
It's a good argument to make. It is a good argument to make because in what we've literally just said in that same breath, Chris, sometimes when we've seen Samari have the freedom to bomb forward, he's been in and around the right areas to help the attack out and made some good passes. So it's not a bad shout. I mean, like you said, you lose out on the long-term plan with Samari because he's a lot younger than Will. But you might get a bit more money for him because he's a younger talent, and people say he's still got potential to go on and do bigger and better things. It's a cost. It's one of them where if you said gun to your head, you've got to lose one, you're going to be sad either way, but you're not going to be too bothered knowing the other one's still there. Of course, obviously, you've got Winks and
No, you're quite right. Look. Talking of Samari, a very typical Samari display. There were some great surges forward, and his passing offloads were decent at times, but he was also too slow to the ball at times, which I've got to say I get where he's coming from. And he gets a 5 off Jordan.
Ooh, it's been a bit harsh there. It's been a bit harsh. I know I've got a soft spot for Samari, but I have been fair with my ratings when it's come to him. He's had some bad games, and I've marked him down for it. But one thing he managed to do against Liverpool, Chris, and I probably should have done an individual thing about Samari on this. Samari has this nasty habit of turning towards his defence and being a bit leg spread and losing the ball and getting knocked off it, and then an attack comes about on it. Against Liverpool, I forgot what I was saying. Against Liverpool, he didn't allow that to happen. He actually did this. He was actually quite clever and he threw himself to the floor or got rid of the ball so that when the Liverpool player went in to try and nick it, it was a foul and it was given and Leicester had a bit of a respite. So he's improved in knowing that. I still don't like the fact that he does that, but he didn't hit the post like Wolf did. So normally I match them up, don't I, Chris? I'm usually the same with the middle as I am with the centre-backs. But Wilfred indeed had a shot and hit the post. Tomorrow he didn't, so I gave him a 6. I did that a bit tongue-in-cheek just because it entered my head when I was writing them down. And folks, they're on the back of this, so Chris knows I'm not just making these up, I'm committing to what I thought.
No, he wrote these down earlier. And I know that the biggest shock in that, I've got to say, is that he can write. But anyway, sorry, Samara.
Anthony. I'm going to use your full name there, Anthony, because I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Hand over the drugs, son. Come on. I know you've got them under your pillow. Why are you thinking saying that? Come on.
Samara 6.5, and Boobies. He's given Booby 7. Look, I don't think Skip and Winks can play together, if I'm honest with you. I'm not keen. I think next season, I think if you take Ndidi out the equation, if he was to go, and we might get more for him, like I say, because of his experience, and you've got Sumare and Skip together, it depends who the manager is, let's be honest with you. Because we've written Jannik Vestergaard off as he seems to have been under Ruud. Next season, he could turn into bloody, Messi again. So that's going to prove a thing. I'm going to have to go 5.5 for Sumari because he was disappointing, but it always seems to be disappointing when he's playing with Ndidi.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think it's fair.
Winks and Sumare as our middle two. Ooh, controversial. Right, moving on from that. Hey! Ee-oh! Here he is. Bobby took over Reed. I mean, one of those players like one of those WTF signings, isn't it? I mean, I don't know. I kind of get this guy.
I've actually preferred IU coming playing out on the right instead of.
Yes, I mean, what he does when he comes on is to Ayew, as we've said this before. This is what the Palace fans said to us. He will fall over and get you a free kick. He will break play up, and that's what we want. But why Ayew isn't suddenly out of... I mean, that's what I don't get with Ruud. There's just no continuity to his... he seems to be doing a Brendan and falling out with everybody. But Bobby de Cove over Reed anyway. He gave the ball away for one of Salah's chances and didn't have an opportunity to redeem himself as he was so isolated. Did his share of defensive work? 4. Your score for the donkey, Brad?
Amount of times I knew he was on the pitch, 0. Honestly, did not know.
Sorry, there was 0 times you knew he was on the pitch, or are you giving him 0? Sorry.
No, both, Chris. I didn't know he was on the pitch. In fact, I was going to give a different Donkey of the Day award at the post-match until you 3 reminded me he was on the pitch and started playing.
I remember that. Indeed.
The 0's running. There's a 0 for you.
Yeah. Look, the idea of this show, Brad, is that you and me disagree on things. But you can read my notes, can't you? Because I'm giving him a 0 as well.
That's probably the easiest thing to predict other than Leicester's relegation.
Yes. I mean, probably the biggest surprise about tonight's show is that Faye's got a 5.5 off me. But look, it was my donkey. That doesn't automatically mean you're going to get 0 from me. But look, what was he doing? If you're good enough to go past the Liverpool defender, running towards the box and then lose the ball under your own feet, what you doing playing Premier League football?
Yeah, I think I'd have rather have just trusted Big Dave after 9 points with a beer belly to run past Liverpool defence and control the ball than he did.
Indeed. And did he play? Not very well. And Blue Fox has given Bobby 4 as well. Right. This is going to be interesting because sometimes you can be your own worst enemy. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. But Bilal El Khanous, he has been our... Look, they say never fall in love with a loanee, and we kind of did with Brunette. And maybe Rude's thinking is, well, look, I'm not going to be picking Brunette because El Khanous is going to be with us next season because we've signed him, unless anybody comes in for him, of course. But he's set himself such high standards, and I'm not sure that he actually came up to them in this game at all. He got carried away, said Jordan. Sorry, he didn't get carried away. Sorry, I should be. He carried the ball well with intent, but sometimes I'm reading the right words, but just not necessarily in the right order. He carried the ball well with intent, but sometimes ran into trouble with his connection with Mavididi. Sorry, God, I can't read. Brad, help me. While his connection with Mavididi was there, but not quite to the extent it was at Brighton, not one of his best games, and gets a 5.
I don't like this, Chris. I don't like this. I don't like it because me and Jordan are kind of agreeing. I don't like it. This hasn't been a good advertisement for YouTube boxing, has it?
It hasn't really, not at all. No.
No, because Chris, I feel bad for this rating. First of all, I'm going to go out and say that I do feel bad to give this rating because he's been such a standout performer. All right, it ain't hard to be a standout in this heap of shite that's played over the last course of this season, But he's always been. Once he got going at Leicester, because it took him a while, I was a bit like, not sure about this. Not sure about this news. Maybe it's worth risking trying to break the bank for Buonotto if we stay up and play him. But he got a run in the team, he got better, his confidence grew, and we've seen a bit of swagger about him of late. And I think when you push that bar so high that your expectations as a fan rise, to have such a quiet game and be a bit lacklustre as he was. Again, Chris, talent is noticed when they put 2 or 3 men on him to mark him out of the game because they see him as a threat. That tells you how the potential this lad has to be a quality. If he can figure out how to unlock teams when they do that to him, he's going to be a world beater. He wasn't against Liverpool, though, and that's probably because he's good against low to mid-table sides, but that end of the table, he's still got to figure out the quality and the difference in what he's up against. So I give him a 5. I agree with Jordan. I give him a 5.
The problem with a lot of these players is, and I'm going to get a lot of hate off a certain group of supporters for this, but some players are so good against the lower teams that when they're just sort of average against the top teams, you tend not to necessarily notice. One of those for me, and I'm going to get a load of stick off this, was Eric Cantona, who put him up against, a Leicester or this season, for example, or Southampton, would absolutely run rings around us. But put him up against a Liverpool or an Arsenal, and he would be just decent. You know what I mean? So now a lot of people agree with that and say, look, whatever you think about his kung fu kick and everything, he was an amazing player. Yes, he was. He scored some absolutely brilliant goals. But to me, he always seemed to produce those against the middle to lower standard of teams, if you like. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I made a note during this game that El Khanous was having 2 players on him all the time. And it is hard to do that when you've got that. Mavididi had it as well, and we'll come on to him obviously next. But what I like about this guy is, and it's very hard, and I've criticised him this season for trying to do everything on his own. And I keep saying, like, remember, Bilal, you're part of a team. You do not have to go past 3 players. If you can go past 2 and then play it off to somebody else. The problem is that he might not feel comfortable playing it off to some of the Muppets that he's had beside him this season. But then, again, I go back to the Great Escape year and Crammerich. And I can remember all the strikers that we had that would get up to the edge of the box and go, oh my God, this is too far forward. Let's play it back. A bit like this season as well, if you like. And when Crammerich came on, yes, he was hitting shots that were ending up in row, J, K, and Y. But at least he was having a shot. And that's what I like about this guy. Yes, sometimes I'm thinking, just pass the bloody ball. He was free and he was free. Why didn't you pass to them? But at least he has a go. At least he gets stuck in. And this was a difficult game for him. I'm going to completely disagree because of that with you and your bum buddy Jordan. And I am going to kill him. Sorry. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to, believe it or not, I'm going to give him a 7.
Well, again, just like I said, hand over the drugs, Chris.
No, I think I just think he.
Look, I agree with what you said. I think he's a young lad. He's still rough around the edges, and a season in the Championship. And I did make this slight comparison to him. And I know he's not a winger, but kind of like Riyad Mahrez, who did little dribs and drabs in his first season and still got caught out. And was still getting dropped for Knockout. The next season, that one season he had in the Championship really gave him that ability and mindset to never doubt himself when we got in the Premier League, even though it took him a while to get going in the Premier League. We all know, actually, the thing that kind of saved us that season, a game that goes under the radar, was his goal against Hull away, where we beat him.
Yeah. Well, look, you went 5. Your best friend Jordan went 5. You'll be rubbing each other's cheeks, won't you?
If there's cheek rubbing, I'm definitely being top. I ain't rubbing no cheeks.
Well, I went 7, and I have to say, Ant, he knows what he's talking about, Ant. He's gone 7, and so has Blue Fox has gone 7. So that's 3 7s to 2 5s. So you lost.
All right, move on. Next one. How many points you get in Predictions League this week?
Oh, shut up. Fuck off. Right. Thank you, Brad. No. Mabadidi got Alan's man of the match for us. City's star man, says Jordan. He didn't let Bradley have any of time on the ball, and then beating all ends up a few times. Either brilliantly body feints or magical bits of skill. The end product was there too. The winger setting up a few chances. Got an 8 off the guys. Off Jordan, I mean, sorry.
Yeah, look, this brings me nicely back to the reason I only gave Ricardo a 7. When we did this post-match, giving our man of the match and honourable mentions, Mavadidi was my honourable mention. It was a tie between him and Amadson, who I would go for because I had committed to Thomas being a man of the match. So the reason Ricardo and FaZe and Cody only got a 7...
Brad. Yours deserves a mention. You do have a short memory, don't you? When it suits you.
I do. Oh no, I was discussing. Yeah.
Your deserve. Let's just read this out. Let me just milk this moment, Brad. Your deserves a mention was Connor Cody.
It was. He had a good game because I felt he deserved it. But Amadson was in that discussion for the original part when we were talking about it. Yeah, at least it wasn't Daka, eh? Who would go for Daka as an honourable mention?
I've no idea, Wayne.
You'd have to look like you've got yellow skin and jaundice to come on.
Yes, indeed.
No, I was very and ahhing between Mavididi and Thomas for my man of the match. And kind of stepping on the reasons you gave El Canoes a higher rating than I did. I'm not saying you're going to give Mavididi a low rating. I felt that he gave everything he could going forward to offer Leicester an outlet, and through no fault of his own, it probably had more to do with Liverpool getting more on the front foot and dominating the game more, and Leicester being a bit too reserved, if you will. That we didn't see a lot of it in the second half, but especially, in that game. I mean, God, that flick, Chris, where he reached his leg back and flicked it over the bloke's head. I mean, that. Do you remember Soccer with Showboat? He'd be on that, wouldn't he? He'd be on the Weekend Cup for that Showboat, because that was beautiful to see. But I committed to Luke Thomas, and I felt the two closest man of the matches to him were Hermadsen and Mavididi. And I gave Hermadsen a 7.5, so for that reason, I've gave Mavididi a 7.5 as well.
Understand where you're coming from. And when you said you didn't presume that I was going to give Mavididi a low score. Well, in fact, you're wrong. I am going to give him a low score because I thought this was one of his worst games that he's played in a Leicester shirt. I can't go to like 0 for Dakota Reed, but I only think he deserves the 2. Joking. Oh no, I didn't.
What cough medicine had got to you then?
Thomas, my man of the match, 8.5. Hermansen, my deserves a mention, got 7.5. I was going to actually give Mavididi an 8, but I can't give him an 8 when I'm only giving Hermansen 7.5. So I'm actually going to give him 7.5 as well.
I knew you'd speak sense, Chris.
And for once, Mavididi says Blue Fox gets 7, 7.5. We're in the same ballpark. Jamie Vardy, who apologised using his words for the shit show of a season that we've had. Doesn't like being honest, is the Jamie? Will he be here next season? I suppose it depends whether his wife takes Colleen Rooney to court again. But what does Jordan say about Jamie Vardy? Another afternoon where he just wasn't involved in it. Doesn't help that Daka's energy to chase lost courses shows what's missing with Vardy these days. When Vardy did get on the ball, his touch or pass sometimes let him down. Got a 4 off Jordan.
Finally, Chris. Finally, we get a moment. We've been waiting for this whole entire show. Jordan, my old mate, my old mucker, my old China pot. Right. Get your head out of Vardy's arse. If you are giving a past sell-by date stinking out the fridge Vardy a 4, you need your head checking.
Ooh.
I love Vardy. Name a stand after him, name a road after him, build a statue, build a fucking museum on his things. One of them, like, what's the old thing where you used to wind the hand around and you see the horse move? What was that called, Chris?
I've no idea, Brad.
Oh, you know it. You probably invented it.
I can't laugh. Don't make me laugh.
It's like an old style projector where you'd flick it through and then the pictures would be like a flip book and it'd make the character move. Anyway, someone will know the answer to what I'm trying to describe in a crap way. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry, Jordan. You're a prick, right? Just because somebody is a club legend doesn't give them a right to have any rating when they play badly. What have you got? Why are you throwing shade at Daka for in your rating? Just tells you how much you want to suck his arse. Because what's Daka coming on for him got to do with Jamie Vardy being absolutely dog shit? He was absolutely dog shit, Chris, again. And there's only a reason I'm going to give him a number, and that's because he was only slightly better. I actually heard his name more than I did Dakota Reed. He was getting 1.
Interesting. I'd written mine down before you said that. And also, I'm just looking where it is, and I can't find it. So I probably. Oh, there we go. Those are my notes from the match. I don't know if you can see at the top there. I've actually got Vardy's name down.
Yeah.
With some lines next to it. Because I thought I'd make a note of how many times he was mentioned, because I never mentioned him in last week's match. And I did get up to 5 mentions, in fairness to him. So for that, he does get a score. I can't go down as low as 1, because that would be unfair on him, because at least he did touch the ball. And I did mention him more than the dickhead Reed. So I gave him a 1 as well, mate.
Well, there you go then. There you go. But yeah, finally, me and Jordan had some to argue about, because giving him a 4 is absolutely ridiculous.
Right, very quickly going on to the substitutes. We'll run through these a bit quicker, mate. Buenete, he got a 6 off Jordan, lively throughout his half hour on the pitch. Maybe he needs to sort of go and get a banjo and find a barn door.
Again, we're gonna look. I want to kind of just get through these because can't be asked of him. He runs into opposition players. The Tigers fans cheered when he had that shot near the end because they thought they got some points in their game.
Yeah.
3.
3?
Mm-hmm.
I went 4 because, again, at least he was running at the opposition.
I mean, I suppose.
Yeah. Daka, he had energy and willingness to give City a big boost. Numerous times he latched onto long balls, but he wasn't expected to win. He was unfortunate with the foul on Alisson too. Got a 7 off Jordan.
One of his more effective games, Chris, when he came on, if I'm being perfectly honest. Set up that effort we've talked about a few times. Set that up. Could have actually, maybe he'd have actually been better off shooting himself because he'd have probably got it closer to the goal. I don't think he would have scored, but he'd have got it closer to the goal. Then I give him a 5, Chris.
I gave him a 6. So again, we're thereabouts, aren't we? Then coming on to James Justin, solid enough, and he looked more comfortable moving into midfield to play the inverted full-back role too. Got a 6 off Jordan.
Barely noticed he was on the pitch, I'll be perfectly honest. I give him the same number as his shirt too.
Well, okay. I thought he did okay when he came on in his... And I don't like him playing on that side. I gave him a 3.5.
2, 3.5. So it's pushing the boat, Chris.
Oliver Skip, one of your love childs. He got about the pitch, but he didn't make a big impact on the ball. 5.
No idea he came on. I actually wrote down the substitutes and couldn't remember if we made all 5. So, and not available for me, Chris. I'll be honest with you. I wrote down 4 subs. I didn't even know he came on. So, yeah.
He gets a 2 from me because he didn't really make a big difference, to be honest with you.
I'll be honest with you, an 8 because I didn't actually generally remember him coming on.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. That is fine. And the final substitute before we get on to Ruud van Nistelrooy, Jeremy Monga. There was an excitement when he got into the ball and he tried to go forward with it at every opportunity, but he was tackled more often than not and got a 5. A player who, we said about putting these young players on against these teams and it can sometimes knock your confidence. Here is a player that doesn't have the logo on the front of his shirt for the sponsor because of his age.
Yeah.
Here is a player who gets changed in a separate changing room to everybody else because of his age. Should he
Yeah.
have been thrown on against the soon-to-be Premier League champions?
In any normal circumstances, I'd say probably not, because there should have been something riding on it for this season. There should have been a case of, oh no, not now, not when we're only 4 points off, blah blah blah, whatever. But in this occasion, Chris, we couldn't do any worse. And why not, Chris? Because let's face it, unless he's suddenly going to go, no, I'm loyal to Leicester and I'm actually fancying playing 46 games next season over 3 FA Cup appearances for Man City, he's not going to be here next season, Chris. Because if you look at, Guardiola this season, I know Liverpool been bad, but McAfee and a couple of other youngsters they played. Great name, Oscar Bob, by the way, for one of their youngsters. What a name. But you know what I mean? That they've started to integrate the youth. I feel like he's taking a leaf out of Fergie's book. He's feeling like the oldies might not cut it, so he needs to get the youngsters in. We've got 5 more games of Monga, and I think he was fearless. He was clearly showing that he's only used to playing against under 23s and not full-grown men, and he is only 15. But if things are a little bit kinder for us this season, next season maybe, we might even get him to see what it's like at 18. And in this day and age, Chris, you keep a youngster that keeps improving until they're 18. Suddenly you're looking at £100 million potential fee. It'd be like Wayne Rooney from Everton to Man U, wouldn't it? But in today's market. So I give him a 5, Chris. Because I saw his intent. He needs 46 games next season in the Championship.
And just to be honest with you, when you look at the games we've got coming up, which, let's be honest with you, we've got Wolves, then we've got Southampton, we've got Forest, Ipswich and Bournemouth. Those are the games I would have preferred to have seen him and play longer, because to be honest with you, he was only on the pitch for about 9 minutes, 5 minutes, he came on 85. I've given him a 4 because at least he made an effort.
Yeah,
at least he was running at the opposition, and if you don't attack the opposition, then you're never going to do anything, are you? You've got to attack.
Yeah, very true, Chris. You've got to. And again, sometimes when you see that spark in a youngster's eye, sometimes it's just better to go, you know what, go at him, mate. You might be rough around the edges, and you might get beaten to the floor. But if you've got the bottle to go, yeah, okay, so it's Liverpool, so it's Harvey Elliott, so it's Salah. I'm running at the fucker, and that's what he did. All right, he didn't get very far of it, and he did stumble on the ball a little bit. I think he got a bit giddy, but he had the knackers to run at him, Chris. I'm not going to begrudge him for it.
No. Finally, with Van Nistelrooy. He doesn't get a rating, obviously, off Jordan, because Jordan doesn't give a manager a rating.
He'd probably give him an 8, no, Jordan.
Yeah.
Look, at least he's had the decency to, politically correctly say, I am bollocks at this job, let the players do what they want. Took another week's less compensation by staying as manager, I guess. 3? I don't know. 0, 3, 2, 1, whatever shit you want to give it him. I'm past caring with him. Yeah,
I've given him a 3. No, in fact, I'm going to drop that to a 2 because of Dakova Reed.
And don't make Dakova Reed feel bad. And for those that maybe think, oh, Brad, making it up on the spot. I did my man of the match, my donkey of the match. I did my Ruud Van Nistelrooy rating and team rating all for you, Chris.
You are such a gentleman, sir.
Yeah. Like you with your artwork saying that, you don't waste your days. Well, now I've figured out how the pen works on this board. I don't waste my time using it today, did I?
You don't. Tomorrow, guys, 7:30, we've got Project Reset show number 6, Sack the Board, 7:30 tomorrow. Love doing this, Brad. I like it as a separate show. Let us know what you think. Add it in the comments below. if you enjoyed the way we do this, rather than just tagging it on to the end of another show. Brad, I'll let you go, mate. You're giving me up all your night tonight. Really do appreciate it. I will see you. I think there's some piddly little show that we do on a Thursday that, I don't know what,
Yeah, some prediction bottle jobs or something like that. I don't know. I can't remember, mate.
Have you seen it? It's just very, very quickly. Oh! It is Tottenham Hotspur 0, Nottingham Forest 2.
Oh, who's gone 2-0 Forest? That'd be me. Come on.
That would be you. I've gone 3-1, but the game's not over yet. There's still plenty of time left. If you get another 3 points, mate, I'm definitely you're doing the show on your own on that Thursday.
Great. I'll see you later then, mate.
Oh, the best, mate. Take care. Oh dear, bless him. I've not had a good week, as you can probably guess, in the prediction league. But yeah, join us at 7:00 tomorrow. We will be joined by the legend that is Rob Tanner from The Athletic. Sack the board, that's what the banner said behind the aeroplane yesterday. Who are the board? Who is actually on the board? What do they do? Honestly, Putin's FSB are more forthcoming with information than the Leicester City board are. That's all I can say. Thanks, guys, for being in. Thanks for joining in with the chat. Like the video, subscribe if you're new, and click that notification bell. And I will see you tomorrow night at 7:00. If not, well, it won't be before, because I'm not doing anything before that. See you then. Good night, guys.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.